The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. The only thing constant in this world is change. Change before you have to. Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. The price of doing the same old thing is far higher than the price of change. Things change, and friends leave. Life doesn't stop for anybody. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Since we cannot change reality, let us change the eyes which see reality. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. Change, like healing, takes time. Change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Our dilemma is that we hate change and love it at the same time. What we really want is for things to remain the same but get better. The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. Play to your strengths. If you aren't great at something, do more of what you're great at. To change one's life. 1. Start immediately. 2. Do it flamboyantly. 3. No exceptions. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past and present are certain to miss the future. Yesterday, I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise, so I am changing myself. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. I don't need a friend who changes when I change and who nods when I nod. My shadow does that much better. Nothing is so painful to the human mind as a great and sudden change. If I'd asked my customers what they wanted, they'd have said don't change anything. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. Incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. In order to change the world, you have to get your head together first. We are not trapped or locked up in these bones. No, we are free to change. And love changes us. And if we can love one another, we can break open the sky. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Taking a new step, uttering a new word, is what people fear most. You're always you, and that don't change, and you're always changing, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that is how change happens. One gesture, one person, one moment at a time. Some changes look negative on the surface, but you will soon realize that space is being created in your life for something new to emerge. Things don't have to change the world to be important. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Certain things, they should stay the way they are. You ought to be able to stick them in one of those big glass cases and just leave them alone. Believe something and the universe is on its way to being changed. Because you've changed by believing. Once you've changed, other things start to follow. Isn't that the way it works? Maturity is when you stop complaining and making excuses and start making changes. I find the best way to love someone is not to change them, but instead help them reveal the greatest version of themselves. Fashion changes, but style endures. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. You cannot change what you are, only what you do. Time takes it all, whether you want it to or not. No matter who you are, no matter what you did, no matter where you've come from, you can always change. Become a better version of yourself. The philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it. All things are difficult before they are easy. There are far better things ahead than any we leave behind. Change may not always bring growth, but there is no growth without change. True life is lived when tiny changes occur. Change in all things is sweet. Change begins at the end of your comfort zone. Change is the end result of all true learning. Nothing endures but change. Growth and comfort do not coexist. Only the wisest and stupidest of men never change. Miracles happen every day. Change your perception of what a miracle is, and you'll see them all around you. Every woman that finally figured out her worth has picked up her suitcases of pride and boarded a flight to freedom, which landed in the Valley of Change. If you're in a bad situation, don't worry, it'll change. If you're in a good situation, don't worry, it'll change. One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. In order to design a future of positive change, we must first become expert at changing our minds. When people are ready to, they change. They never do it before then, and sometimes they die before they get around to it. You can't make them change if they don't want to, just like when they do want to, you can't stop them. No one can tell what goes on in between the person you were and the person you become. No one can chart that blue and lonely section of hell. There are no maps of the change. You just come out the other side. Or you don't. Don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what this storm's all about. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. A wise man changes his mind. A fool never will. I give you this to take with you. Nothing remains as it was. If you know this, you can begin again, with pure joy in the uprooting. A bend in the road is not the end of the road, unless you fail to make the turn. Life belongs to the living, and he who lives must be prepared for changes. Our ability to adapt is amazing. Our ability to change isn't quite as spectacular. Moving doesn't change who you are. It only changes the view outside your window. Changing is what people do when they have no options left. To change ourselves effectively, we first had to change our perceptions. Nothing is lost. Everything is transformed. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. The changes we dread most may contain our salvation. If you want to change attitudes, start with a change in behavior. It's not that some people have willpower and some don't. It's that some people are ready to change and others are not. You tried to change, didn't you? Closed your mouth more, tried to be softer, prettier, less volatile, less awake. You can't make homes out of human beings. Someone should have already told you that. Don't knock the weather. 9/10 of the people couldn't start a conversation if it didn't change once in a while. Change your thoughts and you change your world. The past can teach us, nurture us, but it cannot sustain us. The essence of life is change, and we must move ever forward, or the soul will wither and die. Anyone who isn't embarrassed of who they were last year probably isn't learning enough. If you want to make enemies, try to change something. The only difference between a rut and a grave is their dimensions. People are very open-minded about new things, as long as they're exactly like the old ones. The great growling engine of change, technology. Folks, I don't trust children. They're here to replace us. No matter what people will tell you, words and ideas can change the world. People change for two reasons. Either they learned a lot or they've been hurt too much. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Act the way you'd like to be, and soon you'll be the way you'd like to act. Change your life today. Don't gamble on the future. Act now, without delay. Change is hardest at the beginning, meshiest in the middle, and best at the end. And all the lives we ever lived, and all the lives to be, are full of trees and changing leaves. We first make our habits, then our habits make us. Words are where most change begins. People who can change and change again are so much more reliable and happier than those who can't. What people have the capacity to choose? They have the ability to change. If we don't change, we don't grow. If we don't grow, we aren't really living. People can cry much easier than they can change. Change almost never fails because it's too early. It almost always fails because it's too late. People don't change. They just have momentary steps outside of their true character. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change. The realist adjusts the sails. Every 100 feet the world changes. Consider how hard it is to change yourself, and you'll understand what little chance you have in trying to change others. I wanted change and excitement and to shoot off in all directions myself, like the colored arrows from a 4th of July rocket. What is necessary to change a person is to change his awareness of himself. It was long since I had longed for anything, and the effect on me was horrible. If you want to fly, you have to give up what weighs you down. All is flux. Nothing stays still. People don't resist change. They resist being changed. Sometimes you hit a point where you either change or self-destruct. Either way, change will come. It could be bloody, or it could be beautiful. It depends on us. We change the world not by what we say or do, but as a consequence of what we have become. The struggles we endure today will be the good old days we laugh about tomorrow. Bending beats breaking. The world doesn't change in front of your eyes. It changes behind your back. Man cannot remake himself without suffering. for he is both the marble and the sculptor. Tides do what tides do, they turn. The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude.